So hello everyone, in this audio class we will discuss the 20 most important questions from the chapter Indian Drainage System. These questions will be very much important for your upcoming KVS and NVS Geography PGT interview. So let's get started with the question number 1. What is a drainage system? So a drainage system is the network of rivers and streams draining an area. It is the outcome of the geological time period, nature and structure of rocks, topography, slope, amount of water flow and periodicity of flow. For example, the Ganga drainage system consists of the Ganga and its tributaries draining a vast area of northern India. Next question, what is the difference between a catchment area and a drainage basin? So a catchment area is the specific area from which a river collects water. A drainage basin is the entire area drained by a river and its tributaries. For example, the Ganga basin covers nearly 1/4 of India's land area and includes several tributaries like Yamuna, Ghaghara and Gandak. Next question, what is meant by a watershed? So a watershed is the boundary separating one drainage basin from another. Watersheds are generally smaller than river basins. For example, the Aravalli range acts as a watershed between river systems flowing towards the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal. Next question, on what basis are Indian rivers classified? So Indian rivers are broadly classified into Himalayan rivers and peninsular rivers. The basis of classification is mode of origin, nature and characteristics. For example, the Ganga is a Himalayan river whereas the Godavari is a peninsular river. Next question, why are Himalayan rivers called peninsular rivers? So Himalayan rivers received water from both melting extremely sorry. Why are Himalayan rivers called perennial river, not peninsular? Okay, Himalayan rivers receive water from both melting snow and rainfall, therefore they flow throughout the year and are called perennial rivers. For example, the Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. Next question, why are peninsular rivers generally seasonal? So peninsular rivers depend mainly on rainfall and have relatively smaller catchment areas. Therefore, many of them experience reduced discharge during the dry season. For example, the Luni river is seasonal. Next question, why do Himalayan rivers carry more sediments? So Himalayan rivers flow through young and fragile fold mountains. Active erosion produces huge amounts of sediments. For example, the Brahmaputra carries one of the highest sediment loads in the world. Next question, why do Himalayan rivers form large flood basin? Why do Himalayan rivers form large flood plains? So when these rivers enter the plains, the gradient decreases and deposition becomes dominant. Consequently, extensive flood plains develop. For example, the Indo-Gangetic Plain is one of the world's largest alluvial plains. Next question, what are antecedent rivers? So antecedent rivers are those that existed before the upliftment of mountains and maintained their original courses by cutting deep gorges. For example, the Indus, Satluj, Brahmaputra are antecedent rivers. Next question, why is Brahmaputra called an antecedent river? So the Brahmaputra originated before the uplift of Himalayas and maintained its course by cutting deep gorges across the mountain ranges. This make it an excellent example of an antecedent river. Next question, why do peninsular rivers have broad and shallow valleys? So peninsular rivers flow over old and stable land masses. Vertical erosion is relatively less and the rivers have attained maturity. Therefore, they possess broad and shallow valleys. For example, the Godavari and Krishna. Next question, why are waterfalls common in peninsular rivers? So hard rocks and irregular topography create sudden breaks in slope leading to waterfall formation. For example, Jog Falls on Saravati and Hogenakkal falls on Kaveri. Next question, why do most peninsular rivers flow eastward? So the peninsular plateau generally slopes from west to east. Therefore, major rivers like the Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and Mahanadi flow eastward and drain into Bay of Bengal. Next question, why do Narmada and Tapi flow westward? So Narmada and Tapi flow through rift valleys formed due to faulting. The rift valleys provide a westward slope and hence they drain into the Arabian Sea. Next question, why do east flowing rivers form large deltas? So these rivers carry enormous sediments and flow over low gradient coastal plains. Deposition exceeds erosion near the river mouth. Therefore, they form large deltas. For example, Godavari Delta, Krishna Delta, Mahanadi Delta. Next question, why do west flowing rivers form estuaries? So the west coast is narrow and steep. Rivers descend rapidly and do not deposit sufficient sediments. Hence, they form estuaries. For example, Narmada estuary and Tapi estuary. Next question, which is the largest river basin in India? So Ganga basin is the largest river basin of India. So it covers about 8.6 lakh square kilometer and nearly 1/4 of India's land area. Next question, why is Ganga considered the most important river of India? So the Ganga has the largest basin, supports a variety of large population, possesses fertile alluvial plains and has immense economic, cultural and religious significance. Therefore, it is regarded as the most important river of India. Next question, why is Brahmaputra highly prone to floods? So the Brahmaputra receives heavy monsoonal rainfall and carries huge quantities of sediments. The river has a braided channel and experiences frequent channel shifting. Consequently, severe floods occur in Assam. Next question, why is river interlinking proposed in India? So India experiences unequal spatial and temporal distribution of water resources. Some river basins face floods while others suffer from water scarcity. River interlinking is proposed to transfer surplus water to deficit regions and promote integrated water resource management. There are some factual questions from this chapter. Which river is known as the sorrow of Bihar? That is Kosi river. Which river is called the river of sorrow of Bengal? That is Damodar river. Which river basin is the largest in India? Ganga basin. Which is the largest peninsular river? Godavari. Which river is called Dakshin Ganga? Godavari. Which river forms the largest river island? Brahmaputra, Majuli island. Which river cuts the world's deepest gorge? That is Brahmaputra, Sangpo gorge. Next question, name the major antecedent rivers of India, Indus, Satluj and Brahmaputra. Name two major west flowing peninsular rivers, Narmada and Tapi. Which river originates near Mansarovar Lake? Indus river. Which river rises from Gangotri glacier? Ganga. Which river rises from Yamunotri glacier? Yamuna. Which river rises near Amarkantak? Narmada and Son. Which river forms the Jog Falls? Saravati river. Which river forms the Hogenakkal Falls? Kaveri river. Which river forms the Sundarban Delta? Ganga Brahmaputra system. Into which sea do Indus, Narmada and Tapi drain? Arabian Sea. What percentage of India's drainage areas into Bay of Bengal? 77%. What percentage drains into the Arabian Sea? 23%. How many major river basins are recognized? 14 major river basins. So what is the bonus gist of this lesson? India's drainage system reflects the interaction of geology, structure, relief and climate. The Himalayan rivers are young, perennial and depositional, whereas peninsular rivers are old, mature and structurally controlled. Therefore, understanding drainage is essential not only for physical geography but also for water resource management, agriculture, flood control and regional planning. So thanks for listening. Keep listening for further audio classes. Thank you.